So when we have karma, we talk about karma. We have a storehouse of karma. What's that? Those are the tendencies and the habits, the choices, the thoughts, and actions that you make. If you're a smoker and you've been doing it for 30 years, you've got a lot of smoking karma there. It might be harder to break that than, say, someone who's been smoking for a year. Or if you've been eating a poor diet, not exercising for 20, 30, 40 years, that is a much deeper karma, has a much deeper groove than, say, someone who's only been doing that for 2 or 3 years. When you're living your life, you decide, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be aware. You decide that. Okay, there, you've got it. Now, that's your decision, you're going there. Now let's say the karma, the inertia of your life comes back into play and someone says, hey, let's go to McDonald's. All right, there's an option, there's an opportunity there. There's an opportunity there for you to say no. However, more than likely, the inertia is going to carry you forward. You're going to say, oh, sure, I'll go, I'll just have some fries. Okay. But you see, what you do is you decide you're going in a certain direction, but then you have to start making choices which support that. It doesn't mean that immediately your friends are going to decide, great, you're going to be healthy now, you're going to be happy, so I'm going to leave you alone and I'm going to let that be the case. I remember when I first got involved in meditation practice and yoga, I liked going to bed early. I started doing that so I could get up early. And all my friends could not stand that because we were in college, and we were used to staying up late, playing music and whatnot. And so basically what I had to do was pretty much just about every night say, sorry, fellas, I'm going to bed. And they would bug me and they would nag me for about 6 months to a year. But eventually they stopped. So when I changed my diet to vegetarian, for the longest time they would eat meat. Why aren't you eating meat? You're not going to be healthy, and so on and so on and so on. And it took 2 or 3 years for them to kind of back off. But now there's no more questions of, will you eat this? They don't ask it anymore because they know. So you see, that's one way of seeing that the circumstances that you have played out through your life are going to continue to express until they have exhausted themselves. And they will only fully exhaust themselves when you have decided to quit sustaining the habits and the behaviors and the beliefs which promote them. Be patient, decide where you're going to go there, and then let the rest of it just exhaust itself, but continue to make choices which are supportive and not choices which sustain what you're trying to change. Same thing with this love. Be so intoxicated with your love for God that you know nothing else. That's not easy. Most people don't think that way. Some people do. They're born with this natural devotion and whatnot, and they like to go that route. But most people are used to thinking in the way the world thinks, which is you have to be afraid of certain things. Watch out for that other guy. There's bad people everywhere. Whatever it might be. What's in your food? You can get your mind going about all kinds of things. But if you are so intoxicated with this love for God that you don't know anything else, then these other things within your life, these other troubles, these other difficulties start to fall away. Because your attention is on love for God. Your attention is on just love, period. And that's what I want to recommend. If you just practice love and that's it, don't worry about God. Let God be whatever God is. Leave God alone. That's what Ramana Maharshi would say. He'd say, just leave God alone. Figure out who you are and be love yourself. So if you want to know love, if you want to know absolute love, be that yourself for no reason, just because that is important to you. And then when you are in interactions with other people, you have to remember, a good friend told me this one time, that most people are just a ball of delusions and cravings and unfulfilled desires. That's what most people, the collective consciousness, a ball of cravings, delusions, and unfulfilled desires. So what does that mean? That means that when you are talking to someone, more than likely, all you're really talking to is a ball of cravings, delusions, and unfulfilled desires. Which means they want to be fulfilled, and they want to get rid of these delusions. And they don't really care what's going on with you so much. Remember, I'm just talking about global consciousness, not necessarily everyone. To know that is a good bit of knowledge to have, so that you can interact unconditionally in love with other people, because they can't help it. They could, but there's something there which is keeping them locked in this pattern of continuous cravings and whatnot. And we all have that to some degree. That also brings that self-love for yourself, to know that you have these habits and these patterns that you also don't make much sense really if you took some time to think about them. But if you can love that anyway, eventually that divine love for no reason, and that's what makes it divine, it's for no reason, starts to change you, starts to change the other person, starts to change the relationship, the interactions, starts to change the world itself. Because just imagine if at least 50% of the world was established in that state. They weren't thinking, I need to take this to hoard it because, who knows, there might be lack in a few weeks, or I need to oppress this person, or I need to fulfill my desire here at the expense of all other people. Imagine if only 50% of the world was completely absorbed in this divine love all the time. Things would change dramatically. If only 10%, I imagine, were evolved enough to experience this divine love all the time, or were working towards it, the world would change dramatically. We are the seeds of this new consciousness. It's not really a new consciousness. We are the seeds of this consciousness which is there. It just needs to be watered and it needs to arise. Rather than seeing yourself as someone on a spiritual path and no one else is, it's just you out in this world all alone by yourself, know that you are a manifestation. You are an expression of this much deeper divine consciousness, which is pure love for no reason, which is starting to sprout. So within the collective consciousness, it's starting to sprout. And you are the sprout. And eventually, as you grow into it more fully, you will bloom. You'll be able to share it with other people, and then you'll be able to plant these seeds as well. And eventually, the world will become populated in that way. Much like before there were flowers, we had pine trees everywhere, right? No flowers, just pine cones. Kind of boring. But eventually, flowers started to appear, and now we have flowers everywhere. Spring appears, flowers beautiful everywhere. Same thing with consciousness. Humans work the same way. Humans work the same way. Going along with that, when you meditate, rather than trying to meditate for a specific purpose, such as, I want to wake up and I want to be enlightened and I want this, because what's that? That's a craving and a desire, right? And I know you need that in the beginning to get started, because otherwise you're not going to do it. You're not going to think that there's any purpose to this. So in the beginning, yes. But once you are established on the path, and once you are established every morning meditating in this state, then quit doing it for a reason. Just do it to be in love. Once you are in love, and you can feel it, you're not trying to fix your mind, you're not trying to expand your heart, you're not trying to heal your body, you're just being in love, you're just manifesting love. That will transform your meditations into something that you can't even conceive of right now, because it's beyond conception, it's beyond the mind. So today, when we meditate, simply practice your techniques, observe and witness your states of consciousness, but do it as though you yourself are complete and perfect love. You don't need anything else. No matter what's going on, you are complete and perfect love. And see how that works for you. Feel what happens internally, and also what happens in your environment when you are just holding this state of love for absolutely no reason whatsoever.